This is the 2027 Cannondale Cat 10 made by Supreme Biker. The time has come for the new Cannondale Cat 10 bike build. This is the best ever made road racing frame in my opinion, and I got a new one from UK. This is probably 2014 new model, but it's an amazing frame, and you're gonna see we're gonna build an amazing bike out of it. I also challenge you that every one of you, build your own road bike throughout the winter so that we can ride the bikes in the summer. But I'm sure you're curious how much the frame and the fork weighs. And this is the weight with the bottom bracket installed already. And the uncut fork. You see, I always love riding the bikes. By the way, yes, this is the other Cat 10 I have. I also own the third one. Because riding the bike means freedom. Only some of the parts on this bike will be new. The frame set is new, the wheel set will be new, the cables of course, and the housings and the handlebars. But the seat post, as you can see, is used. And we're going to refresh it. When I was a little kid and I was happy, I would just go for a bike ride. When I was feeling down, I would go for a bike ride too. Ooh. After a cleanup and greasing, it won't be creaking. And I was riding as much as I could, as long as I could, and as far as I could go. We can grease it and assemble it. Clean, we can protect, grease it, and assemble it. It was dirty, now it's almost like new. And it's gonna work for years. I love it. And now the bottom mount. Is this going to be like this or like this? It goes like this. I'm gonna make a huge base build with this bike. I'm also putting a little bit grease here between the bolt and this mount. And everything clean from the other side. Same thing here. It's time for my beloved saddle. It might be hard, but it gives me the support, and it's got huge cutout for many hours in the saddle. I don't have a butt pain problem in my long rides. I'm going to tighten it all the way, just for now. Yes, this is a carbon paste, and I'm connecting here carbon with aluminum, but thanks to this paste, the seat post will sit nicely in the frame, and I won't have to use the maximum torque for tightening the seat post clamp, which means, what does it mean? Longevity. The grease only from the outside. The seat post clamp goes with this lip here upwards. It's the lip that stops the seat post clamp on the frame. And when I was in college, after the school, I was riding the bike, and then I could sit and watch the Cannondale catalogs for hours, listening to Metallica Black Album. I'm tightening just slightly. Now I'm preparing for mounting the fork, and so I want to prepare the handlebars too. Ready? Ta-da! My friends, we're mounting an integrated cockpit, and we get quite a few gadgets with it. It does look pretty good. I'm gonna mount the shifters right now and prepare the spacers for my fork. This is the original headset I had with this frame set. This seal will be replaced with this one And these spacers will be replaced with these. So you can imagine how happy I was when I got my first Cannondale from my parents. It was the only Cannondale they bought me. It was the F900 SL MTB. The grease will of course lubricate the parts and protect them against water. And it's true that I'm probably using a little bit more grease than others, but my bikes really don't break. And I don't replace the chains or bearings really often, hardly ever. These spacers allow you also to thread the cables through them. I'm not going to do it. Yeah, we are cutting. And how much do we cut? Not much actually. As much as the steerer stands out from the, over the upper edge of the stem here, it should be below it. So it's not going to be a lot. This is also a good time to check out whether the top cup will fit nicely and it won't touch the steering tube in any way. No, it won't. And remember also that when you actually mount the headset, you're going to compress all the elements and you will pull the steering tube upwards. And so you need to cut off enough of your steering tube. Otherwise, you will maybe need to do it twice, maybe cutting off just 1 or 2 millimeters. You would not want to do that. I know something about it. And now the worst saw I ever had for the steering tubes. Remember, if you don't have a good saw, don't push it through. Don't allow any pressure on it. Just work it slowly downwards and it will take time. I assembled the bike expander when I have my fork still horizontally, just like on the short on the Become Bike Mechanic channel, but I'm gonna manage. The dreams don't just come true, you need to work on them and work with them. Okay. Very important thing. You're excited about your cockpit and everything, you start assembling different parts and your handlebars will do this and hit the frame, scratching it. You need to secure it. And another good tip, I never put the wheels on the bike so that I have more room around it, especially in my 10 square meter studio. But I don't care today. I want to see how it looks like. I'm going to be staring at it while mounting different parts. Let's do it. Thread lock on the small bolts, very important. We don't use a lot of torque here. We don't want them to unscrew. And well-assembled rear derailleur hanger means better shifting. And perhaps you remember when I was in Iceland with my black and green Cat 10, these were one of the most beautiful moments in my life. Just look at that and listen to this. Wow! I'm putting here 10-speed cassette. Just look how quick I am in this. Yeah. This is the moment. Yeah. Oh, baby. Now it looks like a track bike. And the handlebars protection. I can't wait to see this. The right tool for the right job. The other one is for Wahoo. And here's the camera mount. I really feel as if it was some special moment of my life. Yeah. Let's open the hood. Okay. Another method to mount the shifter. Okay. Assembling the whole bike yourself from scratch is a completely different experience than buying it in the shop. Before we put up the whole drivetrain, I'm going to polish this used cassette. And just look at this. And this is how it looks like after polishing. Let's do this. This is an old Tigra, very good one. And you don't need an app and updates for it. And from that bike, I just borrowed this front leg. This is exactly the same groups at Tigra 6700, so it will look cool. And as you can see, this is not the clamp-on, but the direct mount system. Just take a look at this. Okay, now the crankset. I'm using the 170mm crank length, both for road bikes and mountain bikes I own and I ride. I applied the grease where the bearings will be, and here, because this is where we mount the left crank arm. Now we cover this bearing, and the crankset goes in. Oh yeah! Same cover on the left side, and then the washer. .170s. I'm gonna have 170s in all of my bikes for the first time in my life. There's not gonna be any play, and it should spin nicely. No play. Yeah. And now, while being 41 years old, I'm having so much fun building this bike and then riding it, don't do harm to your children by buying them everything they want from the very junior kind of cyclist. Let them wait for something. Let them work off something. It's time for the jewelry. I haven't really polished this chain. It's also a used one, but I'm gonna clean it afterwards. And now don't mess things up here. First, you wanna thread the chain just over the upper pulley, and then it's got to be threaded in this manner so that, okay, the pulley will spin. It has to go inside this little protection on the inner plate of your cage. Then it goes down here, the left quick link, the right quick link. When the quick link allows you to lock it into place easily by hand, it means it might have been used too many times and it's a good idea to replace it. When there is an arrow on your quick link, it must point forwards when the chain is over the chain stays when you are pedaling, like this. Now you can use the special tool or do it like that. The brakes. How can you distinguish the front one with the rear one? There you go. This is the front one, this is the rear one. Actually, it should be like this because this bolt goes through the fork. First, the spacer. And then our nut. It's very similar on the rear. First the spacer and the nut. Not too hard. Now, cables and housings, bar tape, and we can go. The cables and the liner, and all the ends. First I'm gonna thread this housing. Feels so nice, so elastic. Flexible, I should say. And it's really not that complicated. The braking cable goes straight right here, then it leaves the shifter through this hole, and it hides in the handlebars, and then it goes out here. Same on the left side for my front brake, UK rear brake. It goes straight, goes out right here, it hides there, goes out here. I'm gonna use a simple tool for routing the housing. If you don't have it, you can use a neodymium magnet and a simple shifting cable. You just cut the end and you will also be able to thread it through. And let's go. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Now I'm gonna thread the housing through. You could also have done this with the housing itself, no problem. But look at this. Okay. Correction, according to the manual provided by Jaguar, this should go into the shifter, but this is just too thick. So that end of the housing, the braking housing, will go without it. Now I'm measuring the housing. It's so flexible. It's okay, I'm cutting. I'm checking the end. It's okay, it's open. Alrighty. Now we'll measure this element, but I see I've lost my barrel adjuster. I need to borrow it. I already borrowed the front mech. Psst. Okay, and let's not talk about it anymore. Okie dokie. And once again, the silver end cap doesn't fit in here, so we're gonna have a bare housing. Now the liner. This is the beginning and this is the end of it. So I'm threading this side. In this system, the cable will be hidden in this liner all the way from the shifter to the brake or derailleur. And remember to use the longer liner for the rear brake, shorter for the front one, before you cut the rear one for your front brake. And remember some important principle that you can always shorten the cable which is too long, but you cannot make the cable longer by cutting it. Ha 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 ha. And it's a little bit tight here. Let's try this. Cleaning the cable, and I'm not touching the floor with it. It went right past through. Something like that. And now the seal. Check this out. Oh yeah. Same thing on the other side. Why did I go back to kind of an old system? Because I love simple bikes. And this bike is simple. It's got the external cables. The frame is very light. It is comfortable. It is very compliant. It is fast. My first new road bike from Cannondale was the Cat 8. I bought it in Iceland on my credit card. And ever since I loved it. I really loved it. The bike was really well made. There was some, of course, some, let's call it budget parts, but they just worked. It was just fine. The plan for this bike is to just have it for my trainings, for the better weather, because on the little bit worse weather I have the other one. The ends should be nicely trimmed. I've got this one done also. Not without blood and sweat. Now I'm gonna cut the liner. Cat 10, my Cat 10. Okay, got it. And I forgot about this little seal. It goes first. Alrighty, idziemy dalej. This is so smooth, my man. And a little protection here. And now, boom, boom, boom. Oh, extra. Now, degreasing the handlebars and putting the bar tape on. The hoods. And I'm putting the black and white one. About 1/3 of it needs to stand out. I'm starting from the bottom here, and then this part, which will not be stick to the handlebars, will be pushed into it with the end cap. I decided to go for the black and white bar tip with no colors because it will match the graphics on my bike so well. Go. Oh, we're good. Yes! And so, the finishing touch. Ta-da! And here we have it, guys. This is the Cannondale Cat 10 frame set. 2014, I guess. I bought it in UK, new. I had to pay pretty high custom fees due to the Brexit. But anyway, I've got it. So this was new. It came with a new headset. The Ultegra 6700 group set is pretty old, but it's great. 2x10. I've got compact chain rings, which is 50 and 34, then 11, 28 cassette. I would like to have maybe 30 or 32. I think the Ridge would really take it if I got the longer chain. Crank arms, 170mm, just like on my mountain bike. Hyper wheels, very stiff. Carbon spokes. I've got the 26mm Wolfpack tires on this pretty wide rim. It was pretty tight in my frame. It fits, but if I had flexi wheel, the fork might be damaged. So these very stiff wheels will fit this project very, very well. And then I had these Jaguar sealed cables, which are awesome, but it was real pain to thread these shifting housings through the wind space aero bars, because they are extremely hard, it's extremely stiff, and just at the end you have to make the S bend on a really short piece of it. It was hard, I did it, it goes so smooth like a butter. The bike is very, very light, but I'm not gonna weigh it because the weight is on my other studio. Then 27.2 carbon seat post with this seat tube, which will flex to the front. Seat post will flex to the back. It makes a really compliant aluminum light and fast bike. These are the main features. Oh, by the way, I have to replace the pads for the carbon rim compatible, and that's it. Let me know if you like it, and see you in the next one.